Worried about your heart? As you should be, because heart disease is the largest cause of death in the entire world, man. Heart issues of some capacity. Crazy. Get this book by man, Dr. Thomas Cowan, Human Heart, Cosmic Heart. Link will be in the show notes. A doctor's quest to understand, treat, and prevent cardiovascular disease. And we're going to read you who he was. Thomas Cowan was a 20-year-old college grad when he encountered the groundbreaking ideas of Weston Price and Rudolf Steiner. Throughout medical school and as he established his practice, Dr. Cowan remained fascinated by this work, and in particular by Steiner's provocative claim that the heart is not a pump. If Steiner was correct, then what then is the heart's true role in the body? In his deeply personal, rigorous, and riveting account, Dr. Cowan shows that not only was Steiner correct, that the heart is not a pump, but our understanding of heart disease, with its origin in the blood vessels, is completely wrong. This misunderstanding is the reason heart disease remains the most common cause of death worldwide. And Dr. Cowan offers a revolutionary new way of understanding the body's most central organ and how we can best care for it and ourselves. So I'm just going to read you some stuff here because I'm not done with it. I'm only on chapter 5. There's only 12 chapters. But life's too short to drink cheap wine, man. It's too short to listen to antiquated medical stuff, too. At least without a thought about what if they're wrong? What if they're wrong? All right, so in 1628, an English physician named William Harvey published what would become a seminal work in the field of cardiology, often referred to simply as De Motu Cordis. Today, Harvey is considered one of the most important scientists and physicians of all time for his study on circulation. His description of the heart as a pump is empirical methodology and for dealing a death blow to the theory of vitalism. Interesting. Today, most scientists continue to reject any suggestion of an unseen force playing a role in how things work. Harvey's description of the heart as a pump remains one of the most important foundations of modern medicine and physiology. Let's see. By circulation, how the heart moves the blood is the theory. There's a common theory here. I mean the movement of blood in the blood vessels, of which there are basically 3 types: arteries, veins, and capillaries. When blood exits the heart, it travels through a large aortic arch into the major arteries and then into the small arterioles until it meets the midpoint, that is the capillaries. What's amazing is that blood actually stops moving in the capillaries, which is necessary for the efficient exchange of gas, nutrients, and waste products. After the blood stops moving, it oscillates slightly and then begins to flow again as it enters the veins. But if the blood stops moving at the midpoint of its circular flow through the blood vessels only to start moving again, what is the force that drives this movement of the blood from its motionless state before it leaves the capillaries and begins its journey back to the heart? Is it possible that this force is the pumping of the heart? Wouldn't there have to be some pump located in the capillaries, propelling the blood forward and upward? Or is there some vital force located in the capillaries that does this pumping? If the blood has stopped moving inside the capillaries, then the force cannot come from the heart. It must come from the capillaries. And again, I'm skipping over just some of the highlights I have here. We learn that as a substance moves from gas to liquid to solid, the molecules get closer together and the substance becomes denser. As a result, the volume of a given liquid substance is heavier than an equal volume of the same substance in its gaseous state. And the solid, what you got, buddy? What are you chomping on, chomps? And the solid is denser and heavier than the liquid. So solid, heavier, and dense than the liquid, which is heavier and dense than the gas, which inherently mean if A is greater than B, then and B is greater than C, then A is inherently greater than C. But this is not the case for water. Only with water does a solid phase, ice, float on the liquid phase. If solid water were heavier than liquid water, aquatic life as we know it could not exist. Let's just keep going here. What are you chomping on, chomps? This is hugely significant because it means that all you need to do to get water to flow and for mechanical work to be done and for it to be done indefinitely is to put a hydrophilic tube in a pot of water. I skipped a lot there, but I just got to get the book. This is a perpetual motion machine. That's where I asked a question yesterday on my YouTube channel. Did you know the difference between hydrophobic and hydrophilic? And a lot of you all knew what phobic means because homophobic, we're all homophobic or Islamophobic. So you know phobic means against something. Philic means to attract something, to be favor of something. All right. Conventional science tells us that water cannot flow a capillary tube more than 33 high before gravity prevents any further upward flow. This is known as the barometric limit. Yet there are many trees much taller than 33 feet, and sap flows to the top of them. Transpiration pull can account for some of the additional upward flow, but even in a best case scenario, not for more than 45 feet. So what can account for this paradox? The answer is that trees' xylem channels are highly hydrophilic tubes, which has a layer of negatively charged structured water lining the tube. At the center of the xylem channel is a bulk water full of dissolved nutrients and positively charged protons that repel each other, pushing the bulk water upward. This upward flow will continue for as long as the tube is continuous. This is the force of levity. Levitation? This explanation underscores just how intricate, exact, and profound the way of nature truly is. The structured water phase creates the electrical charge that does the work, and the juxtaposed bulk phase simply flows. It's almost like voltage and amps. Oh my goodness. Where is the energy input that drives this system? If you do the above tube experiment in a completely lead-encased box, there is no flow within the hydrophilic tube. But if you expose the beaker with a tube of water inside to ambient sunlight or infrared frequencies coming from the palms of our hands or the electromagnetic field of the earth, the flow resumes. There are many sources of natural energy that drives this flow, but the most powerful is sunlight. Sunlight is free, abundant, and available to all plants. Sunlight charges the hydrophilic tubes and creates the electrically charged structured water, causing the bulk water within the tube to flow indefinitely as if life were just a big, blissful, abundant dance. But the main revelation here is the system of the hydrophilic tubes energized by the ambient sunlight. Earth energy and the infrared wavelengths emanating from other living beings is really all that is needed in any biological system for the maintenance of abundant, robust, perpetual flow. The bulk water carries the waste and nutrients, and the structured layer creates the voltage or energy that runs the system. Like all living things, we are powered by the earth and the sun. Oh, man. This model offers crucial insight into what causes erosion of blood cells. Erosion or inflammation of blood vessels is the process underlying atherosclerosis, which is thought to be the cause of heart disease. I'm going to pause for just a second. The publication of De Motu Cordis by William Harvey in 1628 was the death knell for the concept of vital force that propelled the blood in the human body. The theory that the heart was the force driving the movement of blood in the human body was the first and crucial step towards the development of the mechanistic medical model that we use to this day. Although I don't question that Harvey had valuable insights in the working of the circulatory system in humans and animals, perhaps the physicians of antiquity were not as incorrect as we may have been led to believe. I got so much stuff in here, man. Just so much stuff. Just one other thing real quick. It talks about the misery index. In industrialized countries and countries that are frantically trying to become industrialized, there are high levels of employment and high rates of misery. We see this bearing out today. It's just as being measured in a different way. For example, the World Health Organization predicts that by 2020, depression will be the second leading cause of the global burden of disease. Modern populations are increasingly overfed, malnourished, sedentary, sunlight deficient, sleep deprived, and socially isolated. We are our own animal farms. I'm thinking about a freaking factory farm for moo cows. Modern populations are increasingly overfed. Cows are overfed with corn because the antibiotics. They're overfed with GMOs. They're overfed with steroids. They're overfed to get fat. Is that healthy? Modern populations are increasingly overfed, malnourished. Cows are increasingly malnourished, which we eat. So inherently, what does that mean for us? Sedentary. They just sit there all day long in a freaking factory farm. And what do? We sit there all day long in a factory cube. And if you're out there working with your hands, you're still, in the manufacturing capacity, you're standing there. I get it. I'm not just saying this for white collar people. I'm saying for a lot of people. Sunlight deficient. We have electric lights, fake climate control. Sleep deprived and socially isolated. It's like the perfect thing for the mass psychosis, is it not? These changes in lifestyle each contribute to poor physical health and affect the incidence of treatment of depression. Anyway, so he goes more into it. Again, I've just began, but oh man. Further evidence that the best model for the heart is as a hydraulic ram and not a pump is the behavior of the aortic arch during contraction, known as the systole or systole. If the heart were a pump, you would expect that as the heart pumps blood through the aortic arch, the flexible arch would straighten with each forceful push. On the contrary, during this contraction, the aortic arch bends inward, forming a more acute angle. This can be seen in a routine angiogram. Just so much stuff. Read this book, man. It's just, I love it. Now, look, some of this, I'm not a hippy dippy. I'm a conservative, right wing, populist, nationalist, 100%. I have no qualm with that. There's, and some of this stuff I can read about Rudolf Steiner, who was I just reading about? Reich, Wilhelm Reich. I'm like, some of the stuff from the early 30s and the Sigmund Freud, Reich, they're like, we have a lack of sexual openness. Like, no, we have too much sexual openness, man. I don't want to know your business. It's just nuts. And they say because we're sexually repressed, that's why all this stuff. It's just that stuff bores me to death. But the sad thing is, though, because that's stupid, and everybody knows it's dumb. That gets thrown in with people like this who are just authentic. And I don't know what the sexual proclivities are. Some of these people follow this. I don't care. But don't throw the baby out with the bathwater just because there's some like this. Like one of the things who was saying about me, one of the people I follow and I like a lot. Oh, it was my man Dr. John J.C. Sanford, who had written about the evolution, the silliness of evolution. Who's a geneticist and just a brilliant guy. And some chick on my YouTube channel says, I can't believe you follow this guy. He believes in a young earth. I'm like, I can't believe you follow the frick. He believes in aliens and multi-universes. It's just because they have some weird thoughts. And I have weird thoughts too, man. Like, I think we should legalize all drugs. Oh my goodness, I can't believe you follow drugs. Josh, he thinks we should legalize everything. I do. Don't throw the baby out of the bathwater. This is something I have learned to try to do for sure as I get older. I'll give you an example of this. When I was in college, there's a guy named Mario Rizzo, professor at New York University, who came down to George Mason. And Rizzo was a self-described anarchist. And the minute I heard that, I said, what the hell is he doing here? This is a libertarian thing that we're doing. It was a presentation we're doing at George Mason. And I just said, I don't want to hear this guy's an anarchist, thinking anarchist meant commie. No. Anarchism, we call them anarcho-caps now. Anarchist capitalist, not an anarchist commie. I'll never get that. I said, I don't know, man. And he gave a presentation way above my head. I was like, dude, could you make this any more hard to follow? Now let's look at Mario Rizzo, shall we? I typed in Mario Rizzo anarchist, and I came up with this world of Rizzo. I said, whoa, the Anarchist Federation, which I'm not familiar with, and I don't ever plan on being. This is the problem, man. This is just commie stuff here. Look, I mean, you can see you got that little red star there, black, and this is commie stuff. This isn't anarchism. These are commies. And you'll see white racist. Let's see. White nationalist. Just the whole thing is just commie crap. And it bores me. I mean, anarchists are not anarchists. Communists are not anarchists, just not. Anyway, so Mario Rizzo called himself an anarchist. Unfortunately, the term anarchist has been co-opted by the global opposition to freedom, which is, look, at the end of the day, these anarchists are funded by well-funded, big, Koblenz cabal groups. It's just a fact. But anyway, so Mario Rizzo, Classical Liberal Institute. Just sad that they got rid of, they corrupted the term anarchist. University of Economics, I'm sure he's there with Milton Friedman. PhD in economics. Yeah. So just the problems of moral. I don't even know what that means. This is what I'm talking about. I don't even know what dirigism. Dirigo. Isn't Dirigo the name of Maine's? I think Dirigo is the Maine's on their flag, state flag, right? He's affiliated with the Cato Institute, but I mean, he is a self-described anarchist. That's what he said. Actually, what's Maine's state motto? I thought it was Dirigo. Dirigo, something like that. Dirigo. Let's see what that is, because I'm curious. Dirigo is Latin for I direct. Okay, I direct. I guide. There you go. I figure so. They're trying to get rid of this flag. I wish they would not, man. I like that flag. That's a cool flag. All right, look at that. State of Maine, baby. State of Maine. You can spit on Canada from here. Oh, that's classic. Oh, dude, I gotta get that as a t-shirt. You can spit on Canada from here. Yeah, take that, Canada. Of course, we love the truckers, but all right. Anyway, get that book, and my man here. Hold on a second. Cancer and the New Biology of Water, which I also have. I did not see this one, though. Interesting. Vaccines, autoimmunity, and the changing nature of childhood illness. I did not know he did this book. That's nuts. I'm freaking dig. Oh, yeah, look at that. One doctor's surprising answer to the epidemic of chronic disease, an essential reading for everyone concerned with the health of the next generation. Over the past 50 years, rates of autoimmunity and chronic disease have exploded. Currently, 1 in 11 has asthma, 1 in 36 has autism, 1 in 13 has severe food allergies, 1 in 2.5 children have an allergy. Well, some attribute this rise of increased awareness and diagnosis. Thomas Cowan argues for a direct causal relationship to a corresponding increase in number of jabba-jabbas American children typically receive. Exactly. Approximately 70 jabba-jabbas by the age of 18, and none have been proven that they cooperate with each other. None. There is no evidence. Look at IOM. Everyone says, here's the Institute of Medicine. It doesn't say that. It says the exact opposite if you read the doggone thing. The goal of these jabbas is precisely what we're now seeing is what in the abundance among chronically ill children. The provocation of our immune system. Oh, man. I have to buy that too. Oh, I love it. All right. Love to hear your thoughts. We'll see you.